Okay, so let me give you some examples. Talking about yourself. 저는 책을 so we will learn this a little later. 저는 책을 읽어요. So I read book. 저는 질문이 있어요. So you remember 있어요, right? We talked about this last time. And what else? 마이클은 you are talking about your friend this time. 마이클은 좋아요. So your friend, my friend Michael is good. It's a little unnatural, but for our practice, let's use these sentences. We are talking about either myself or your friend who is not higher than you, just same as your position. When you talk about yourself or when you talk about somebody who is not socially higher than you are, then we use simple 어요 form. But when we talk about someone who is older than you are, someone who is in a socially higher position, then 어요 form is not enough, not polite enough. Think about it. You are talking about someone who is older than you are or who is socially higher than you are. So think about some example. Who can be a person like that? Let's say 선생님. So you are talking about your 선생님. Then 선생님은 so talking about 선생님 책을 읽어요. It's not enough. So we are talking about this 선생님's action. So when we describe someone who is older than you are, someone who is in a socially higher person, we use different form. 읽으세요. So we can still see 요 here, but this 세 is inserted here. So remember this 으세요 form. 저는 질문이 있어요. Let's say teacher has a question. 선생님은 질문이 있어요. It's not polite enough, so 있으세요. 마이클은 좋아요. Michael is good. I'm talking about Michael, but I want to talk about 선생님 this time. 선생님은 instead of 좋아요, 좋으세요. Why do we use 으세요? Because we are describing someone who is older than you are or someone who is higher than you are. 으세요. Let me give you one more example. 저는 학교 가요. So we will learn this A later. This is something like to. So to school. 저는 학교에 가요. I'm going to school. Let's say teacher is going to school. 선생님은 학교에 가세요. So let's take a look at this green part. Let's take a look at the form. How do we conjugate a verb or adjective into 으세요 form? We need this stem part. So 읽다 is to read, right? 읽다 to be existing or to have. 좋다 to be good. 가다 to go. So we need only the stem part. And take a look at the last syllable of the stem. Just one syllable. And if there is a consonant at this position, syllable final position, we insert this ư and then followed by 세요. So 읽으세요. In case of 가, there's no consonant here, so we can just add 가세요. Does it make sense? So when you talk about someone's action, so like when you talk about your father, your grandfather, your teacher, when you talk about someone who is not very close to you yet, then we use 으세요 form instead of 어요아요 form. Does it make sense?
네.
Then let me give you some examples of asking questions. Before today, actually you maybe already know this expression. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. And this is question form. And we already know this 으세요 form, right? 안녕하세요. What's the meaning of 안녕하세요? It's something like hello in Korean, right? But the literal meaning is 안녕하다. 안녕하다 is an adjective which means to be in peace, to be peaceful. So 안녕하세요 literally means are you in peace? Something like that. So are you healthy? Are you good? Or something like that. Then why do we use 세요 in this case? 안녕하다, this adjective, whose state are we describing now? If you use 안녕하세요 to someone else, then you are talking about the listener's peacefulness, like talking about the listener, right? So because we are talking about the listener, that's why we use 으세요 form instead of 어요아요 form. So 안녕해요 doesn't sound very polite. So 안녕하세요 is the appropriate form. Someone is going somewhere and you are wondering if where that person is going. Then you want to ask, where are you going? Where are you going? So the verb should be 가다, right? And the verb form. So where are you going? So I'm talking about the listener's action. 어디 가세요? 어디 가세요? 어디 가요? It makes sense, but it's not polite enough because you are describing the listener's action. 어디 가세요? Sounds more polite. You are asking someone to have a seat. So what's the verb to sit? To sit. 앉다. 앉다. So if you say I sit here, then 저는 여기 앉아요. You can maybe say like this. But if you ask someone to sit here, then you are not talking about yourself, but you are talking about the listener's action, right? So 여기 앉으세요. So there is a consonant. There are actually two consonants here, so we need 을 here. 여기 앉으세요. 앉으세요. So that's a proposal for someone to have a seat. 앉으세요. So far so good.
네.
So yeah, 으세요 form is not very difficult. Take a look at some examples here. You want to ask your friend to greet someone else. Please greet to my friends or to this class. Then how would you ask that person to do that action. What's the verb to greet or to 인사하다? 인사하다. Then please greet. 인사하세요. 인사하세요. And what other example? Oh, we didn't talk about 이에요 form. The noun sentence, the copula. So you are talking about your nationality. Then how do you say I'm Korean? 저는 한국 사람 이에요. You want to talk about your teacher's nationality. Your teacher is Korean too. 선생님도 let's say 선생님도 this time. 한국 사람. 의세요 form for 이에요 is 이세요. It's simple. This part is stem and 세요. It's like just regular verbs or adjectives. So okay, please remember when we describe socially higher person's action or state, we use 의세요 form. When you ask someone what he or she is doing, when we talk about the listener's action, then we use 의세요 form. When we make a suggestion for doing something, so please have a seat, please go, then we should use 의세요 form to be, polite. Okay. So okay, let's practice more 의세요 form in class. 감사합니다.